Hello, Chris Godinez, licensed professional counselor, also the host of We Need to Talk on every Sunday at noon Pacific and 3 p.m. Eastern. This video is for educational and informational, purposes only. The views and opinions stated herein are mine and mine alone. They do not represent the ACA, the APA, or any other therapist for that matter. I would like to thank my sponsor, BetterHelp, BetterHelp with a P, BetterHelp.com/Chris Godinez. They're an online counseling company. I've been getting a lot of really good feedback, so I'm very happy that they are helping people. That makes me very, very happy. They are international, so if you are in the UK, if you're in Italy or France or anywhere, basically, and you can get on to BetterHelp.com/Chris Godinez, fill out the questionnaire. They'll put you with an American counselor here in the States. You guys will have to work out the difference in time and things like that. Or if you're here in the US and you want to get a different counselor in your state and you just don't want to see the one that's near you, but you also don't want to drive 4 hours, get on to BetterHelp.com/Chris Godinez and fill out the questionnaire, and they will put you with a master's level or PhD level counselor in your state. And they're very affordable, which makes me very happy. So yay team. Thank you, BetterHelp.com/Chris Godinez. Okay, let's get with the questions. So you may be asking, what is all this headset and microphone and everything? I'm turning these into podcasts now. So Andy Brennitz, who's my guy, was like, okay, you need to get a microphone, you need to get headsets, you need to blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, okay, so here it is. All right. So let's answer some of the questions here. Oh, somebody gave me an idea about GATA masks. Silicone with KN5 filter, doesn't fog your glasses and works amazing. I will have to look that up. Thank you. Because I was talking about having to double mask when I was in Disneyland. So, and yeah, it did fog up a little bit. So, okay. What about people who ghost you out of nowhere for no apparent reason in the middle of a conversation of how's your day going, and they criticize you for your body? Eat more, don't train too much, etc. Well, okay. Ghosting is never a good thing ever. It's kind of rude. It's, if Miss Manners were still alive today, she'd be having a fit, I think. Because ghosting is when somebody just stops talking in the middle of a conversation. Like you're dating the person and they don't return your phone calls. They don't text you. They don't, whatever. They just poof, disappeared off the face of the planet. Well, that's a pretty good clue that they've got very, 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 very poor manners. And there's something wrong, It's like healthy, normal people don't do that. And then, of course, the ghoster will inevitably come back. So that's a huge red flag. But if somebody ghosts you in the middle of a conversation, you don't know necessarily what's going on. So like if you're having a conversation with somebody and they suddenly stop talking, there could have been an emergency. They could have had to put the phone down. They could have been at work. They could, So you want to ask them, kind of feel it out, like, what is that all about? But if this is something that happens a lot and they just don't give you any explanation, that's really rude. So usually what I will do is if I'm talking to somebody, I'll be like, hey, I'm really sorry. I've got a client coming in. I'll text you back in 45 minutes or whatever. Or, hey, can't talk right now, that kind of, I'll just let them know. I'll be right back, or I'll be back in 20, or, whatever. So you don't just leave people hanging. Again, this is a manners thing. And I really... It's so funny. The Victorian era had so many manners that it was so repressive, right? And so we kind of rebelled against that and we got rid of manners. But now I think we've gone kind of over into the other extreme of not having enough manners. So be courteous. Be courteous. It's like, think about the other person. Would you necessarily want to leave somebody hanging? No, you wouldn't. So think about that. And somebody who does leave you hanging all the time, let them know, hey, to me, this is rude. This is a manners issue. This is a respect issue. It is. It's a respect issue. So if you could just let me know that you're busy and you can't continue the conversation, that would really help a lot, And then if they continue to do it, well, now they're showing you who they are, that they're not interested in your feelings or respect or anything else. So then you end the friendship. So, or they criticize you for your body, eat more, don't train too much. No, that's none of their business. Thank you for your input. Shut the bleep up. I mean, it's kind of like, who are you to tell me what to do? It's like, or who are you to criticize what my exercise routine is, or my body is, or, what I'm eating, or whatever. That's not your job, So somebody who's doing that, that's kind of a power and control thing. That's a shame thing. So be very cautious with these people, if that makes any sort of sense. Okay. My ex texts me caring things and says they want to chat. A few days later, I text back, thanks for caring, and I care for her. Now she says a new boundary. I can't say that. Only text things that help her. Okay. I would say go no contact. This is not a healthy relationship. Go no contact. Just be done. So this is the thing. When somebody is controlling and manipulating and dictating, what you can and cannot say and what you can and cannot do, that's not a healthy relationship. That absolutely is not a healthy relationship. So there's boundaries, and then there's manipulation and control. So you kind of have to ask your gut, is this manipulation and control? If your gut says yes, be done. Be done. What disorders cause fathers to lust after their daughters? Is such a daughter subconsciously wired to draw more sexually abusive men? Okay, narcissists, psychopaths, those disorders, because the social norms do not apply to them. So my dad was trying to be very inappropriate with me and my sisters, and he was absolutely borderline, for sure, narcissistic, for sure, and I suspect psychopath, because the rules did not apply to him. So, excuse me. Ugh. So you want to avoid them like the plague. You want to get into a good trauma therapist. This is trauma. Our fathers are supposed to protect us. Our parents are supposed to protect us. Our moms and dads are supposed to love us and protect us and keep us safe, right? They're not supposed to exploit us for their own sexual whatever. And moms do this, disordered moms do this too. They sexually abuse their kids. So disordered dads sexually abuse their kids, male and female. They don't care. So it's like me, I, more my genitals. That's really all they care about. So that's what's going on. Is such a daughter subconsciously wired to draw more sexually abusive men? It is what we are used to. So in other words, our inner child that was abused will look outside of us. Okay, here's the original wound. Our inner child will look outside of us and go, oh, look, there's somebody who kind of sort of reminds me of my abuser. If I can make them love me, I prove the original abuser wrong. Half of a doo-doo sandwich, half of a doo-doo sandwich, total doo-doo sandwich. And so we are attracted to what is familiar, which is why when we get into a healthy relationship, we kind of freak out and we're like, wait a minute, wait, no, there's no drama, there's no trauma, there's no game playing, there's no agenda, I'm uncomfortable, I'm not used to this. We're not used to it. So it's really important to get with a good trauma therapist and start working through all of the incestuous, either actual acts or the thoughts or the whatever. My dad would say and do incredibly inappropriate things, and I talk about it in my book. Oh, my microphone's gonna make a lot of noise. What's wrong with your dad? So I talk about it. I talk about him, staring at me while I was showering or trying to bang his way into the bathroom because he was so angry because I locked the door, which is weird when you think about it. So yeah, it's something that we need to work through. If we've got incest in our past, it was not our fault. It was not our fault. We are not wired to go have other abusive relationships. It is simply what is familiar. And so that's why it's important to work on self-esteem with the Self-Esteem Workbook by Glenn Schiraldi, or You Are a Badass by Jen Sincero, Boundaries, The Disease to Please by Harriet Breaker, any of the Melanie Beattie books, Codependent No More, Beyond Codependent No More, PM Melody does one. There's a whole bunch of them, So work on all of that and your picker will start getting fixed because you'll recognize you don't deserve that. You don't deserve to be treated like that. What the actual, So, yeah, and it's just because it's familiar. And so the inner child is the one that's doing the picking because they're trying to heal or fix that parental relationship with this person over here. And you can't fix the relationship with the parent because they're cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs. Healthy, normal parents do not abuse their children. So, yeah, so you definitely want to get with a good trauma therapist and start working through that. Absolutely. Okay. And you're not doomed. You're not doomed. It's a matter of working on your self-esteem and recognizing you do not deserve to be abused by anybody. And I don't care who they think they are. You do not deserve to be abused. So self-esteem, boundaries, trauma therapists do it. So yeah. Um, okay. Do narcissists view women as high value or low value women? I just feel like this objectifies and shames women. Narcissists put us up on a pedestal in the beginning. Okay, we can do no wrong. We're the perfect mate. You know, love bomb, love bomb, love bomb. You know, we're on this beautiful high pedestal. And then the abuse starts. And then the devalue and the discard starts. And we go from here to below bargain basement, you know. So they do that. It's a either or situation. You're either a virgin goddess or you're a slut whore. You know, that's really how they think. That is, swear to God, that is how narcissists think. They objectify women, absolutely. Absolutely. And they do this virgin goddess slut whore thing, which is very misogynistic. And all narcissists are misogynists. All narcissists hate humans, basically. They hate everybody. They hate themselves. They hate everybody. And they will objectify anybody and everybody. And yes, it is shameful to women. Abso-freaking-lutely. It's intended to be. Because they want to do that intermittent positive rewards. I love you, I love you, I love you, I hate you, I hate you, I hate you. Oh, you're this virgin goddess up on this pedestal. No, you're a slut whore and you're in the bargain basement. And it's intended to wear away the self-esteem, the self-respect, the knowing who we are. They start telling us who we are, and we start believing them, especially when we're up there on that pedestal. But when they start dragging us down, unfortunately, we've been trained to believe what they say. So yeah, it absolutely is intended to shame. It absolutely is intended to objectify. That we do not have any more value to them than this pin. We are nothing but objects to them. And I don't just mean women. I mean men too. So male narcissists do this. Female narcissists do this. They do it to male victims. They do it to female victims. The victims, the targets, have no more meaning to them than this pin. We are an object to be used, and that is it. They don't see us for our rich internal life. They just do not. They don't see that we're a human being that has needs and wants and desires and dreams and passions. They don't see that, and they don't freaking care. So yeah, it is intentional. It absolutely is intentional. And they are very often misogynistic if they're male, and they are very often hate men if they're female. You know, it's just crazy. They hate everybody, basically, themselves, everybody else. But yeah, and yeah, it is intended to objectify. It is intended to remove the humanity from so that they can more easily abuse, which sucks. So, yep. Okay. Are trigger words a common thing among abusers? In my case, when I mention the word work, they go, ah. So a lot of narcissists, not all of them, but a lot of them hate holding a job. They hate working. They don't work. They don't want to work. They feel that the world literally owes them a living, and they should have things handed to them on a silver platter, and they will claim that you suggesting that they go to work is triggering them. Oh, poor little them. They're getting triggered. They twist. Here's the thing. Those types, those abusers get onto all of these different websites and all of these different YouTube channels, and they try to learn as much about abuse as they can so they can flip the script and use it on the target of abuse. So they will use trigger words. Oh, you're triggering me. No, jerk. The rent needs to be paid, and I'm working already a 40-hour week, and we're not making it. Hello. You know, male, female, doesn't matter. So abusers can be male or female. I want to make that perfectly clear. So yeah, they will claim that you're triggering them. No, they don't have the same emotions we do, guys. Again, I cannot emphasize this enough. When we are dealing with a malignant narcissist, a malignant borderline, dark triad, they're so far gone, there is no there. Like, seriously, there is no conscience there. There is no censor there. There's no, shame. There's no fear. There's no nothing there. Only their wants, their needs, their desires. They are predatory. They are like sharks. So when they claim that there's a trigger word, it's because you're asking them to do something that they don't want to do. And in a lot of cases, a lot of narcissists don't want to work. They want to be taken care of. They feel that the world owes them a living, or that you should take care of them, and et cetera. It's not a partnership. It's not. It may start off as a partnership. They may have a job in the beginning, but then pretty quickly they'll lose it, or they'll quit. And then they'll look to you to be the sole income person, and they'll be sitting on their ass at home doing video games, or they'll just not be working, or they'll be hanging out with their buddies, and this, again, male and female all do this. So yeah, and some more so than others. So yeah. So no, they're not triggered. They're using it. They're using psychological terms to avoid doing what they don't want to do. So there that is. Okay. Why can't I remember beyond a few minutes? This happens a lot. I don't remember a lot of my childhood. I even forgot that my mother was a monster until my stepmom reminded me. Why do I forget so much? Okay, that's called abuse amnesia. So it's dissociating, basically. So when we have been abused, it is part of PTSD, post-traumatic stress disorder, okay? CPTSD is complex post-traumatic stress disorder. So complex is when it happens over and 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 over again, which is what happens in abuse. So when we are being abused, we don't remember a lot of the actual event. That is a part of PTSD. In fact, that's in the description. It's like you can't remember certain, key events of the trauma, So it's dissociation. So in other words, when something is so traumatic to us, and especially if we're little kids, hang on a second, I'm thirsty. Especially if we're little kids and we just dissociate. We just are like, boop, can't cope, not dealing with it. Thanks for playing. Are those memories gone forever? Sometimes yes, sometimes no. I have clients that when they start feeling comfortable enough, they start remembering because we've built up the trust, we've built up the rapport. They know I'm not going to abuse them. They start sharing, they start remembering. Sometimes in the middle of the session, they'll have like this epiphany, like, oh my God, I'm having a flashback. This is what I remember. What the, and it's because they're feeling comfortable enough to start remembering. And basically you won't remember until you feel comfortable enough or safe enough to start remembering. It's abuse amnesia, and it's a protection thing. It's a self-defense thing. It's kind of like, this is too much. I can't cope. Peace out. Not going to deal with it. And so we forget, but it's still there. It's still running in the background, which is why you've got to drag it into the light and cope with it, deal with it, work it through so that it's not subconsciously running you, so that you are conscious of it and you are the one that is in charge of, yeah, I'm going to go down that memory lane. Nope, I'm not. I'm going to set that aside for right now. So it's not like an unconscious thing. It's like a conscious thing. So get with a good trauma therapist. EMDR is great. It doesn't necessarily unlock memories. Talk therapy is wonderful. DBT is great. CBT is great. There's a whole bunch of different modalities out there that deal with trauma. Make sure you get with a good trauma therapist. Absolutely. So, so that's what you want to do. And this is common. You're not crazy. This is not unusual. This is not something to be freaked out about. Oftentimes when we've gone through a high amount of trauma as a child, we don't remember our childhoods, or there's entire blocks that we're missing. So it just means, okay, that's my cue that, hey, there's been trauma there. There's dissociation going on. And this is why we need to start working on the trauma and try to help that client feel safe enough to start remembering, to start working on it. So yeah. Okay. Do abusers really see red and really have blackout rages, or are they lying about that too? Is it still abuse if they throw things but actually don't hit me? Okay, so here's the deal. Anytime anybody throws anything, that's abuse, because that's an intimidation. That's basically saying, I'm aiming for your head and damn, I missed. So yeah, that's abuse, absolutely. Do they really have blackout rages? No. No. So do people see red? Yes, they can see red. It means the blood cells in the blood vessels in their eyes are breaking. And they do see red when they get that angry because their blood pressure is so high. Blackout rages, I'm not buying it. I'm sorry. That's every abuser that's ever been violent has claimed, I blacked out. I don't remember. But they remember everything else leading up to when they damn near killed their partner. So, yeah, I think they're lying. I do. I don't believe in blackout rages. I don't. Seeing red, yeah, you can see red, absolutely. And it's when they work themselves up into such a tizzy that they're breaking blood vessels in their eyes. That's why they're seeing red. So, but yeah, they lie about everything. Everything. Look, it's a choice. Getting into a blackout rage, that's a choice. Anger is not something that just suddenly comes on. It's a choice. And 9 times out of 10, listen to me now, believe me later, abusers will have decided that they are going to be in a rage. They have decided that they're going to be in a blackout rage. They have decided that this is how their night is going to go. You've seen it when, the abuser walks into the room and suddenly everybody's like, oh God, this is going to be really bad. Because you could tell, you could watch the hamster wheel going in their head, and you could see the malice in their eyes, that they'd already decided that they were going to beat their daughter or their son or their wife or their dog or their cat or whatever. This was already a decision that was already made. That's why I don't believe in blackout rages. It's like, you decided before you even walked into the house what you were going to do. So yeah, they are, if their lips are moving, they are lying. So just remember that. Similar question. Can abusers rage and be aware of what they are doing? Are they calculating? Absolutely. Abso-freaking-lutely they are calculating. Like I said, they knew exactly how it was going to go down before they even walked into the house. They already decided. It was a choice and it was a decision, and they are absolutely calculating. They'll go from raging to sweetie pie, blah, 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 as soon as they see that the raging's not getting them what they want. Then they'll switch to this, then they'll switch to that, then they'll, that's crazy. That is crazy, and that's manipulative. So yeah, absolutely. How are cults able to get people to join them? Love bombing, and I'm going to talk more about that on Sunday. So we're going to be talking about cults and what to watch out for and all that sort of fun stuff. So, but basically, in essence, they get people to join them by love bombing, and I'm going to talk about how and why. So, yay. Okay. What is the difference between sibling rivalry and sibling abuse? Okay, so sibling rivalry is when the kids kind of compete against each other. They try to outdo each other, to get attention or to get whatever. Sibling abuse is when they are vicious, mean, nasty, hitting each other, screaming at each other, putting each other down, stealing each other's things with malice, okay? Sibling rivalry is common and normal in families. It happens because all the kids want to be acknowledged and loved. Well, let me back that up. It's normal in families if there is a lack of attention. If the parents make it really clear, love you all, you're all great, we're going to give attention to each one of you, and they're very good about giving attention to each one of them. There's very little sibling rivalry because there's none of that lack and scarcity, oh my gosh, there's not enough to go around kind of thing. So sibling rivalry can be considered normal, kind of competing and trying to be the best and this, that, and the other thing. In a family where there's not really good boundaries and not really a lot of attention going on, sibling abuse is where the parents literally set them up against each other. It's kind of like divide and conquer. And they make the kids compete to get their attention, and so the kids start doing manipulative, cruel, mean, vicious, nasty things. And that's no bueno. So in healthy families, the siblings support each other. In healthy families, the siblings love each other. In healthy families, yeah, there's a little bit of competition, but it's not like a I need to destroy you kind of thing. In unhealthy families, it's an I need to destroy you kind of thing. So, okay. I'm telling my truth about my abuse, and now my abuser is telling me I'm doing a smear campaign. What is the difference between telling the truth and a smear campaign? Okay, so again, abusers get onto these channels and they start trying to use terms that they've heard and flip the script. So a smear campaign are untrue things that the abuser says about you. So untrue, like completely untrue, like no evidence, like they'll say the most outrageous, untrue things about you, trying to badmouth you to bosses, to coworkers, to family, to friends, etc., etc., etc. Telling your truth is you're not broadcasting it to everybody and their dog. You're telling your family and friends, hey, I was in an abusive relationship. This is what this person did to me, and it's true. It's not made up, so that's the big difference, is that smear campaigns generally are made up. They make it up. If their lips are moving, they are lying. I think I said that. So, and of course they're going to call it a smear campaign because in their mind, they've never done a wrong thing their entire life. That's just the way that they are. How do I deal with an abusive family member that tries to embarrass me? Oh, I answered that one. Okay. Do narcissists like to push poor swimmers into the water and save them, or is that more a psychopath? That is sadistic. It's probably psychopathic, because what if, I have a feeling I've answered that one before. So, yeah, they absolutely, they'll Munchausen by proxy. So Munchausen by proxy is a really good example of a psychopath harming a child or putting a child in a dangerous position to rescue them so that they can get the kudos for rescuing them. So that's Munchausen by proxy. Okay. Hang on. I have a child with an abuser and I am leaving. Should I get an attorney? Absolutely. Absolutely. So this is, excuse me. This is something this is one of the reasons why abusers try to financially bankrupt their person that's leaving them, because they don't want them to have an attorney. And oftentimes the abuser will get an unethical attorney that will try to drag the family court out for literally years and years and years and years. It seems like the family courts are maybe sort of kind of starting to catch on to this stuff because they just want stuff off their docket. They don't want this stuff to drag out forever and a day. They got plenty of cases. Trust me on that one. So it's a really good idea to get an attorney, and you need to get an attorney that is well versed. Listen to me now, believe me later. High conflict divorces, high conflict custody cases, because your ex, where is the book? Where'd it go? There is a book called Sibling by Bill Eddy. Oh, I'm making all this noise. I shouldn't do this. I'll just talk about it. It's buried under stuff. Sibling by Bill Eddy and Randy Krieger. And it is about every rotten thing that an abusive personality will do during a divorce or separation or a custody battle or whatever. Read it. Make sure your attorney reads it. Make sure your attorney understands it. Make sure that they are well versed in high conflict divorce, high conflict custody cases. So yeah, you absolutely want an attorney because the court system is its own universe. They have their own rules of behavior. They have their own terminology. They have their own procedural things. And the average Joe is not going to understand how to do that. That's why you hire an attorney to navigate the court system. Plus the fact, attorneys all go talk and have lunch. They go out with the judges. You want to get a good attorney. You want to get a good attorney. You want to get a good attorney that understands high conflict divorce, high conflict custody cases. You want somebody who's got a good reputation, who knows what they're doing, who's connected. And that's really important. So is it worth it? Freak yeah. Yeah, absolutely. Is it expensive? Yes. Retainers start at around between $2,000 and $5,000. And that money's going to go fast because what your abuser is going to do is continuing to rack up the bills, rack up the bills, rack up the bills. They're going to keep sending stuff. They're going to keep doing, frivolous motions. They're going to keep doing, and you want an attorney who's going to put a stop to that. You want an attorney who's going to be like, okay, this is baloney. We're done, and then puts in a motion to make it stop. So, and some attorneys don't know how to do that, or they don't care to because they do want to rack up the bills. So that's why I'm saying get a good one. Get one that has good recommendations, knows how to deal with high conflict, well connected, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. Okay. I have a hard time wrapping my head around how my abuser thinks. I'm always surprised when they try to pull something new and abusive. Okay. So here's the deal. Healthy, normal people do have a hard time wrapping their heads around how abusers think. It's outside the realm of how the rest of us live and think and deal. And, we would never treat somebody the way an abuser does. We just don't. It's not who we are, And so when they do something horrible or nasty or mean or cruel or whatever, we're always like, what just happened? And so that's kind of like, you're never going to understand it. All you need to know is that they're abusive. They've shown you who they are. Believe them the first time. Get out. Save yourself. That is really all you need to know. There is something, I had a really good friend of mine put it in a really good way. We were talking about certain personality types, and she looked at me and she said, you know what? People who do this are just completely dark and broken. There's no putting them back. There's no going back. They've crossed a spiritual, moral, ethical line. And there's no understanding that kind of evil. And I just kind of was like, yeah, you're right. So you got to understand, these people do not think the way healthy, normal people do. They never have, they never will. And they're not ever going to get better, and your love is not going to fix them. So all you need to know is they're showing you who they are. Believe them the first time. Get out. Save yourself. So, all right, kids, I am out of time. So thank you so much for tuning in, and I will talk to you on Sunday. We are going to be talking about cult behavior. How do cults get people to join, and what do they do, and what you should look for, and how to protect yourself, and all that sort of fun stuff. So we're going to talk about communal narcissists, so communal/cult behavior. So, all right, so that's what we're going to talk about. Have a great week, guys. Be good to yourselves. Drink lots of water, and I will talk to you on Sunday. Bye.